Welcome to the Parish the Thought Show. The opinions of Brian, your host, and his guests have not been sanitized or scientifically tested, so please consume at your own risk. Now, here's Brian.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever else is listening, welcome back to the program. Today, my guests are Leland and Ethan.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, kids. And you are here because I was talking with Ethan with your dad the other day, and he said you two were at the Charlie Kirk event where he was killed recently, and you were really, really close to all that, like 20
about 20 or so feet away.
15, 20 feet.
That's crazy, and that's probably something you'll never get out of your head. So I'm just going to let you guys, tell me what you saw. What was your perspective on this, and we can just go down that road.
Well, I guess, should we start from the beginning?
Yeah.
So Leland wanted to be there pretty early, much to my dismay. So we showed up about 2 hours early.
So you didn't want to be there early, or you didn't want to be there at all?
No, I wanted to be there.
Okay.
I love Charlie Kirk, and she introduced me to him early on in our relationship, and I was immediately hooked. And so I was really excited about it, but I've never been great at being places hours early before it needs to be there. And so got up there 2 hours early, walked in, and then just kind of sat on the UVU lawn.
It's like almost an arena kind of
Like
thing.
a terraced courtyard.
Yeah, exactly. But there are like steps down.
These big concrete blocks that have grass on top of each concrete block. So it's kind of like a jump down to get down to each step.
Exactly. And then there's like a water feature that goes through the side of it. And so, yeah, we got there 2 hours early. We just kind of sat there for a while. And then everybody just started. It was probably about a half hour, 20 minutes before he was due to arrive, and
was when the majority of the people started coming in.
Exactly, and they started rushing up to the gate. So we got up there, and sadly we didn't get the front row. Now looking back, I'm glad we didn't get the front row,
We got kind of the front row.
Yeah, we got right behind just a couple of college guys, and then it was the barricade.
It's always very unfortunate when you go 2 hours early and you end up behind the two tallest guys on the UVU campus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there should be a sign that says if you are this tall, you have to sit in back on this ride.
Yeah, it really should.
Absolutely, especially where I'm 5'1", and so I
Half the time Leland's trying to crane her phone up so she can take pictures.
Exactly.
As I'm trying to kind of move her around so she can try and see. And there's this even shorter girl besides Leland who's trying to see Charlie as well.
Yeah.
And so we're all trying to make room for her as well.
And so I ended up looking through. The guy had his arms on his waist, and so I was looking through his arms. He was that tall. It was wild. So Charlie finally comes. He was a little bit late, and you know what? We were ecstatic. I had never seen him this close. I had gone to a couple of his, it's called America Fest, and he holds it every December in Arizona, and I had gone to two of them. And it's just a convention. It's a 2-day convention or 3-day convention of a bunch of different conservative influencers and just, you know, people who have podcasts, things like that. And so I had seen him multiple times in person, but never this close and never with this little amount of people. Because America Fest, 20,000 people go, you know, at least. And so, it was, we were really, really excited.
You should have heard the cheering and the fanfare. It was incredible.
Absolutely.
All these people who were chanting USA, Charlie Kirk. There was even a guy holding up a life-size cutout of Donald Trump. He was holding it up, and just all these people so excited. And it's looking back, it makes me realize that it's not because of Charlie Kirk per se. He's just the voice.
Exactly.
But it's really just hope and excitement for the country. And it's what I feel like a lot of people have really lost these past few years with how divided it's been. Nobody cares about America anymore. It doesn't seem like they really care, or it's just like, who cares? Just another president. They're just going to screw everything over again, and then they're going to bail out. And we're not saying that Trump is the best president, but we do think that he's a fairly good president, especially with all the wars he's ended. And you know, I mean, the tariffs could have been better, in my opinion. But it is just awesome seeing that many people in the UVU campus. Maybe there was 2,000 or 3,000 or something like that. Oh, I'm not entirely sure on the number, but just seeing all these people who are chanting for the USA, who are excited to be there, you could feel the electricity in the air, the passion. And then when Charlie came out, it's realizing that that's the man that's really trying to rejuvenate the youth of America, really trying to get the patriotism back in this country. And since his death, there's been thousands of TPUSA chapters opening. He gained, 12 million followers on Instagram?
Something like that.
Post-mortem.
Yeah.
The world lost a phenomenal person. Whether you dislike him or not, you can't deny the impact that he had on this country and on the countries around the world. On his YouTube videos, you would see things like, I'm from Ireland and we are feeling the loss of Charlie Kirk. It wasn't parades, but there was a monument put up in Taiwan or something.
I believe so, somewhere.
Maybe it was in Japan, some Asian country, of Charlie Kirk. And people it wasn't about the conservative values. It was the family first thing, his courage for his faith. Whether it's like, even if you're an atheist, well, actually, I guess if you're an atheist, you don't really believe in God, but it doesn't matter what religion you have, you still believe in a higher power. And so he fought for that freedom of worship, for that higher power, regardless of what it was. He spoke about the freedoms that all Americans should have. And just seeing that light in everybody's eyes when he came on stage, or not really on stage, but he walked up to his table. His table. Yeah.
His pulpit.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of. His pulpit to discuss and have these discussions with college students. And it was, of course, there was opposition. There were people who were holding pride flags and signs,
but very, very little people compared to how many were there in support.
Well, it is Utah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that nobody was expecting this to happen in Utah.
It's Utah.
Especially in Utah County, you know? I mean, like, you'd expect this more in, like, the further north, like West Valley City, or, you know, where it's...
Berkeley.
Yeah.
Something that's very...
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And you know, somewhere where it's more left leaning than Utah County. And so yeah, it was just shocking. And I think also it was odd that there was no security.
It was very odd.
It was very odd.
Especially when, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm seeing things on Instagram, which is not a bastion for the truth. But
it's a bastion for opinions.
Yeah, a bastion for opinions. But I'm seeing different news lines saying that Charlie's head of security was told that the police had secured the roofs and all that kind of stuff, and that this entire thing could have been 100% preventable. This never should have happened. No one, regardless of what their political opinion is, should die, especially in such a gruesome way.
Exactly.
It doesn't pass the smell test. Nothing about it does, but going back a little bit, you think the impact he had was because, and this is my theory, is because he was just such an advocate for discussion.
Exactly.
Dialogue, which we are sorely lacking in the world. And maybe I say this a lot, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we are doing better than we think we are. But when we get into these silos of social media or news, that's designed to piss us off.
Oh, yeah.
And to divide us.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe if we pulled out from that, maybe we're doing a lot better. Maybe we are talking to each other more than we think.
Yeah, I mean, there was a
study
study that I saw that places like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, their algorithms are designed to make you mad because they know that's why you'll keep going on there, is because your emotions are in there.
It's money.
Yeah.
Right after that, I was doing a little more doom scrolling than normal, and I could literally watch the algorithm evolve.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing because I know it's there and I know it's doing its thing, but to literally watch it,
It was.
you stay on with something for a second or two, and then boom, 6 more of that same thing. And I know that's how it's designed, but to watch it happen was
Absolutely.
mind-blowing. And it's there's a book called The Chaos Machine that's phenomenal about how the rise of social media and how the impact in the algorithms. But anyway,
Have to look into it.
yeah, it's a phenomenal read. So tell me, so he comes out, crowd's going crazy. Then what?
He sits down. He's got his one of his assistants.
Well, first he
gets his tea.
starts to throw out a bunch of
Oh, yeah.
a bunch
47
of hats.
47 hats. I was wearing one. I still have that hat. He was throwing out 47 hats. Wasn't he throwing out a few shirts too?
Yes, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, a few
Also
shirts.
just swag.
Yeah.
People love our free stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't think the more and more I live, and I'm only 21, the less I think that coincidences are actually coincidences. I don't think it was just a coincidence that the last shirt he wore said freedom.
Absolutely.
Because everything he stood for was freedom. Freedom of speech,
Freedom of religion.
freedom of equality, all that stuff. That's what he fought for. That's what he died for. And so after he throws out all the merch and stuff, he gets in his chair and he points out the opposition who are kind of...
Saw that.
Yeah, there's a sky bridge kind of thing. And they're got their little pride flag and their little signs. One of them says, Charlie Kirk is a liar, a coward, and a cuck, which doesn't make any sense for either of those.
As soon as you name call, I don't care what side you're on, if you start name calling, you've lost the argument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then there was one that says Jesus was an immigrant too. And it's like, okay, but he still would have done it legally because he said render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. And so just all these little signs, it's weird to think that stuff wouldn't have stuck with me had this not have happened.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have remembered those signs or what they said if I wasn't filled with so much anger and fear that day. And so after he sits down, he points at them and says, see those guys over there? They're not over here because they're scared. And it's true. The only ones that like watching his videos, the people that walked away after having an argument with him and just walking away mid-argument are the people who never had a point.
They're the name callers.
Yeah, they're the name callers, the ones that stand by it because they feel like that's what they should do other than they actually have a reason. There's a musician called Tom McDonald. He's a rapper.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines from him is the truth doesn't harm point of views that are legitimate. Your point of view shouldn't be hurt by the truth, especially when it's something like Jesus was an immigrant. It's like, okay, he was, but all the same time, he still would have followed the laws because in his own laws it said, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. He wouldn't break the rules and expect us not to break them. That's why he was baptized too. It's because he wanted to set that example. And all these people who were just too scared to come and debate him,
do we know they were too scared to debate him, or they just maybe showed up late?
No, they were there before most of the people there.
Yeah, they were there.
I mean, a few of them came, like once the event started, but a majority of them, they were there before the event even started.
And he kept telling them, why don't you come down? You can skip the whole line. You can
usually
come first.
they'll pick someone who disagrees with them first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they did. His first question, it wasn't about politics. I don't remember exactly what the question was.
It was this guy came up. Wasn't he it wasn't Elder TikTok, was it?
No, it wasn't.
It was just
Elder
some random
TikTok
student.
was there, but he didn't ask a question.
Yeah. It was some UVU student, I think, and he came up and was like, his statement was that Mormons or members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have a more traditional God than Protestants do. And he wanted to debate that with
It was
Charlie.
something, I think it was more like our theology makes more sense than a different
something like that. I don't
religion or
that
something
wasn't
like
the
that.
important thing that day.
Right. And so they talked for quite a long time, and Charlie discussed how much he actually really loves members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
He couldn't
Saints.
stop talking about our missions that we send people on,
missionary
our
program.
humanitarian
And
work.
And when he first said, I will never forget, when he first said, you guys, I love Mormons.
And he has them on his
have
staff,
nothing
right?
against you guys. And the crowd went crazy.
Because it's just so often do you see people who are of different faiths who will take every chance that they get to attack members of the church.
Absolutely.
To attack someone else that's not in their club.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it was really, and like we were so excited, like, oh my gosh, Charlie loves Mormons.
Charlie's one of
like,
us.
Yeah. And so,
He was like, he thinks we're cool too.
Yeah, that was really cool. And so they talked back and forth for probably a good 15, 20 minutes.
No, it was nowhere near that. No, actually, I think it was.
This one guy, really? They talked that long?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe it
back
was.
and forth. And so the crowd kind of got tired of hearing about that because we're all there for politics, you know?
And Charlie could sense that. So he was just like, I don't think we're going to get anywhere. Is it okay if we move on? And the guy moved along with it.
Yeah, and it was really cool because the guy was very, very knowledgeable. He was a very, very good voice for our church, you know?
And what was cool to me is that he was a convert, and yet he knew more about the church than I would say a lot of the people in the church.
He knew more about it than I do.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then the second question came, and the question was, do you support trans people not being able to own a gun? And
No, it was about shootings.
no,
It wasn't?
it
Oh.
wasn't. Yeah, it was. Should trans people be able to own guns? And Charlie said, no, they shouldn't. Which, frankly, I agree with
Why?
in some ways.
Why do you agree with? Why is a trans person having a gun? Why is that a threat?
I mean, because
It's not a threat.
I don't-
It's just looking in the DSM-5. Transgenderism
What's
is in there.
DSM-5?
it's the big book of
mental illnesses and all that kind of stuff.
medical stuff, right? And transgenderism isn't in there, but
sorry.
what is it called?
Gender dysphoria?
Yeah, gender dysphoria is in there as a mental illness.
Which is, they're different things, but at the same time, a mental illness this is just like candid talking. Would you call someone that wants to cut off a limb, that's a perfectly healthy limb, but they want to cut it off because they don't like it? Would you say that's a normal thing to do?
No, that's not healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's how we feel about people
and
who are...
you never know what that person, if you give the person who wants to chop off their leg a gun, you don't know what they're going to do with it, And I believe the same thing with someone who has depression. I believe that, and I'm not going to say a blanket statement of all trans people should not have a gun.
Absolutely
I'm not going to
No.
say that because
Content of their character, like Martin Luther King said, you think that upholds as a stronger
Yeah.
base
Yeah.
than anything
Yeah.
else?
We do think, at least I think, that there needs to be much stricter rules when it comes to gun safety and that, but
much more like psychological.
Yeah.
Like you need to go through therapy or something, because I feel like so many people are, even just the guy who shot Charlie Kirk,
he had a transgender boyfriend.
He
Quote,
was,
I'll say quote because we don't know that. But
absolutely.
he's the one yet. And
Yeah, right. Innocent until proven guilty.
absolutely.
Yeah, we have to say that.
But he was
and
able,
even that story, who knows?
exactly.
That's a sketchy thing, is we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
And-
innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely. But that, the person who was accused, who had, I've read the police report. I kind of obsessed over everything for a while there.
I feel like it was a pretty natural thing for us to do, having witnessed a horrific
and
thing.
so I read the police report, and it said that his fingerprints were all over the gun. It's as if he licked the gun.
There was so much DNA
There
evidence.
was so much DNA on it, and on the towel that he wrapped it in and
text
wiped it off,
messages.
and the texts and all that.
The scope that was on the rifle that his father identified, the rifle that his father identified as his grandfather, as his dad's. It's just,
And yes, and so,
again, innocent until proven guilty.
but
We're just stating what we saw
Yep.
and what we learned.
That's why you're here.
But that person obviously wasn't necessarily right in the head if he did, allegedly go and shoot a public figure. There should be no reason that he should have been able to get a gun. And I understand that things change quickly. You know, I'm not saying that it's his grandfather or his father's fault that he was able to get that gun. I'm saying that maybe there should be, and I'm a gun owner myself, you know. I'm not someone who wants to ban guns by any means, but I do think that there should be stricter rules. If you have a history of mental illness, a history of depression, anxiety, anything like that,
it's like,
because it's a lot more slippery of a slope.
One of her family members, he was suffering from depression, so it just became a better idea to hold on to that weapon for them so that they don't do anything drastic.
Absolutely.
We don't want them hurting anybody, and we especially don't want them hurting themselves.
Exactly.
No one should have to die because of a mental illness or that kind of thing, especially when, regardless of what you think of Charlie Kirk, he was still a father, a husband. He was
a grandson.
He was another.
He was just like all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, same rights as everyone else.
Yeah, he wasn't a fascist or a Nazi or anything like that. All the clips of him saying things that were inflammatory, it's just clips missing the context.
It's just been taken out of context. Yeah,
That's on every side, unfortunately.
That's just how the news and the media works. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And
going back to the trans thing, I do believe that I have seen a study. I don't remember which study, but people who transition are a lot more likely to commit suicide after. I think it was like 8 years after they've transitioned that they're more likely to commit suicide than before they actually transitioned. And so I think that's very interesting. And, you know, why would you want to give that person a gun if, you know, statistics don't lie, you know? And so I just think that that's a very, very risky thing.
And we want to clarify, not everybody who has transitioned or is transgender or identifies as such is mentally ill.
Yeah.
We just
absolutely.
think that,
like, I don't know if you're familiar with Blair White.
Heard.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to call her a she because she looks like a she, and
she actually passed the smell test because she looks like a woman, she acts like a woman. So
absolutely. And you know, she has guns and she loves going out and going shooting, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think that there should be some psychological evaluation, something to make it harder for, you know, people who may be suicidal in the future or may.
How do you do that for someone that's suicidal in the future?
And that I realized that as I was saying it.
Too, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there needs to be something more.
Something more just in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like you can't. The waiting period to get a gun is just completely ineffective.
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's why are we limiting that? Why are we putting a time limit on? They're just gonna get it anyway. It's like.
But the sad part is that if they don't find a gun legally, then they'll find a gun illegally.
Exactly.
And that's the argument. If someone's determined, they're going to find a way.
Absolutely. So and that's the sad part, you know. But I'd rather make it a lot harder for them to be able to kill themselves than just hand it right to them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not even coming from a place of, oh, well, I should get a gun and you shouldn't. It's coming from a place of, I don't want to kill myself. You statistically are more likely to want to kill yourself than I am. And I want to protect you. I want you to be safe from yourself.
Live your life the way you want to. Just don't hurt yourself. Exactly. Or don't hurt others.
Yeah.
So going back to the Charlie Kirk event, Charlie started to talk about pretty much exactly what we just talked about. He started to say, no, I don't think that they should be able to have guns. And in the middle of his sentence, he got shot on the, the left side of his neck.
Yeah. He was, I don't even think, he had set down the microphone, and I think he was reaching for it again. And there was this loud...
set it down. And that's what
exactly.
Yeah, there was this crack. Before the innocent until proven guilty coward would even let him finish his sentence, he took the shot.
Were you directly in front of him or off to a side?
We were off to the right a little bit, but pretty close
his
to
right
center.
or your right? His right?
Our right.
Okay, so off to his left.
We
Yeah.
saw everything. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't even blink, and there was so much.
So much.
Is that word allowed to be said on YouTube?
What word? You can say whatever you want.
Okay. There was so much blood just coming out of his neck.
Were you concerned about saying the word blood?
Well, yeah, because YouTube has a lot of really...
That's another topic we should mention a little
Censorship?
bit. Is the whole... Because I know that people are talking about sexual assault and they have to say SA or child. And I'm like, these are horrific things. Why are we so afraid to say what they really are? It's mind-blowing to me. And I don't know that you were concerned about saying blood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it's-
kill
it's so-
or suicide. Those are deep, horrific, sad, real things, and we censor that too. So nothing has any meaning anymore. It's true. Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you saw the blood.
So
it was a lot of it. Quickly.
There was so much. It just...
It was
didn't
like
look
a
real.
river of blood.
And it just kept coming, and it didn't look real. We thought it was a joke because of the timing of the discussion where he was talking about shootings, and then suddenly, crack, and there was just so much, and he just, it's like seeing it in slow motion where he just kind of sat back for a minute, and his entire body was kind of like still, and you could see everything just disappear from his eyes as he fell to the side. And once he fell to the side, it was just this blur. We all ducked because...
But it took a while for us to duck.
Like maybe a couple seconds, but it felt like
everybody
minutes.
just kind of looked around.
The slow motion in a tragedy is a real thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everybody just kind of looked around. Everybody was like, what is going on?
Everybody was kind of waiting for him to pop up and be like, surprise, guys, it was a joke.
But I knew that it was like, that doesn't seem like something Charlie would do.
It's way too serious
for what he does.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's way too serious of a thing to joke about. Like that.
Yeah.
But he never popped up. And so we just stood there. And then we all just kind of ducked once we realized that he had been shot. And I remember putting my hands on both of Leland's shoulders as she's kind of in the fetal position. And I'm thinking, holy crap, we just got married. Are we going to die? Am I going to die? Is Leland going to die? And so my entire priority was shielding her from...
And my thought was, holy crap, we just got married 2 weeks ago. Am I going to lose my husband today?
You guys are that newly into your wedding?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah,
thanks.
you.
You know, nothing like a trial to...
Nothing like a good assassination to dampen your wedding.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But I mean, I don't know. I think we're pretty solid together.
Yeah, it definitely brought us even closer. And so yeah, we all ducked, and then people started screaming, "Run, run, run!"
So let me back up, or let me stop you for a second. So you're off to his left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell where?
No.
It's hard because it's such an echoey bowl.
Yeah,
it's probably
we
hard to
had
hear
no
where
idea.
I just heard it
back.
back. Didn't really know where it came from.
Yeah, I feel like I looked back almost as soon as the shot was fired. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know where to look.
Yeah.
So don't take my word for it. But I looked to the back, and I mean, it just looked like nothing had changed.
Yeah.
I initially thought someone had shot from the window. So I was expecting to see an open window. Nothing. I thought someone had maybe fired from the crowd, but there was no way they could have gotten a clear shot throughout all those people, or all those people wouldn't have noticed a handgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything until after the fact with the video footage.
Yeah, and so we were ducking, and I remember distinctly saying Ethan mentioned the girl that was a little bit shorter than me, and I told her, I'm so scared. And so then somebody started screaming, run, run, run. But how the barricades were set up, and because I mentioned that there was a water feature, and so the barricade was off to our left, and then the water was on our right. And so there was probably a good, like, one person width path to get through.
And so
We just jumped in the water.
Yeah, there's these thousands of people trying to flood out of these two main exits, and then I think there was a back exit as well. We're all trying to run out of there, and as I'm holding on to Leland, still trying to block her from what I thought the direction of the shot was coming from, she hesitated. I think you hesitated before we got in the water, and I said, "It doesn't matter. Just get in the water. We got to go. We got to run." So we jump in the water, and we start. The water's up to my knees or something.
It was up to my mid thigh.
Yeah, I'm a little bit taller than her.
Yeah.
just for the viewers or for the listeners. And so we jump in the water and we just keep, it didn't matter. It was so much pandemonium that I didn't even feel the water.
Yeah.
Didn't even have the sensation.
Numb.
Yeah, exactly.
So numb.
Exactly.
And as we get up, or as we go to get out, I think someone helped you out. And then this guy, I don't know who he was. He was bald, had a white beard, and I think was wearing a green plaid shirt. He just grabs my hand and goes, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." And he said, "Good, go." And so he just kind of pushes me, and I'm still kind of holding on to Leland. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until maybe 200 feet away or something like that I actually let go of Leland, and we started walking away, instead
of running, because initially we were running because at the time we still don't know if he's gonna shoot more.
Well, usually in things like this,
they do
spray a crowd.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die today,
And once we 200 feet away, is I think we kind of realized that there was only one shot. No one else was harmed. At least I don't know of anybody else that was harmed. But it was just that shock and disbelief of just kind of walking there. I think you were already crying.
Yeah.
I was basically crying. And the first thing I thought to do was just call my dad. And so I just called Dad and just let it out that I couldn't believe what had just happened, and that it doesn't matter where the person who did it goes, they're still going to find them.
Yeah.
You can't hide from something like this, especially when there's cameras
Not
all
anymore.
over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I tried to call my mom, but my mom is notorious for not answering. So, sorry. Then I tried to call my dad, and he didn't answer. And so I'm freaking out because I know that the news stories are going to start coming out, and I didn't want them to think that, I had died or something, And so I called my brother, and he had already heard about it, and I said, "Hey, we were there. We're fine."
Keep in mind, this is maybe
we're fine.
5 minutes after it had happened,
Yeah.
and it was already well known.
Yeah.
I checked Reddit when we got in the car, and there was already a post on it.
Yeah.
And it was like, what? How did this even happen? Who had the time to write out this thing?
It's wild.
Everybody lives on it.
Exactly. And so, we left. We actually, because we went into we paid for our parking, so we were in a good spot to get out quickly. And so that was a good $5 spent. And so we got out, and we actually...
It took us maybe half an hour to get out of UVU because there were so many police cars. There were so many people trying to flee, and there were so many undercover cops too.
Absolutely.
In these SUVs that you wouldn't be able to tell from a normal civilian car that had their lights on, just rushing into the campus. It was insane. It was ridiculous seeing all these, and it just looking back, it just felt so fruitless. Mm-hmm. All this security, but
everywhere. Yeah, my son was there, and he'd somehow made it back here. He doesn't even live here at the house, and he made it back. And so we went back about an hour and a half later to go get his car, and there was still just the amount of police presence everywhere.
Oh,
University
everywhere.
Avenue, just they were still crawling with it. And they were still pulling their weapons out of their vehicles and running into the campus an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
There was so much security, and yet it all failed.
It makes you wonder, well, they all weren't there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true. They all weren't there. They were called in, but what could have been?
Well, and it's maybe they don't think, Charlie Kirk's been doing this for how many years? 10 years?
Exactly.
So, and there's probably never been anything close to this. You know, they've had like
And in Utah.
kerfuffles with people, but never something. So they probably just didn't
expect it.
No, not it's like presidential level security for Charlie Kirk. They don't.
Yeah.
They're not thinking like that.
And-
Probably.
Well, and that's the thing is that when we got there, I was surprised because they had me register for tickets online when I saw that the event was happening. And so I had QR codes for our tickets, but then nobody checked them.
Nobody scanned anything. There were no metal detectors.
That was probably just to get a head count so they can
Yeah.
talk about for press.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's why.
looking back, we think that the reason that they didn't have any of that kind of stuff is because they didn't want to limit anybody to come in and potentially ask him a question.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's one thing about Charlie is that he wanted it to be as open and as honest and as free as it possibly can be. And if they had to hire outside security, then
People wouldn't have.
it'd be
not
a
as many
lot
people
harder for
probably
it to
wouldn't
be
have gone in.
free.
People wouldn't have gone through the hassle. I really don't think it was a coincidence that the last shirt he wore said freedom on it.
Yeah.
It's what he died for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After he passed away, after we got the news that he passed away, we were just crushed, right? And my brother actually went out onto University Parkway and he had a sign.
I said, "Rest in peace, Charlie."
Yeah,
Except he misspelled Charlie.
but it's fine. It's
Yeah, it
fine.
was the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts.
It
And
was mostly
so-
"Rest in peace, Charles," but it's the thought. That
Yeah,
counts.
yeah. And so he went out and he held the sign and he said that some people were angry, some people were really, really, they would honk and they'd be really happy that he was doing it. And so I guess a guy from, was it ABC4? Mm-hmm. Interviewed him and he mentioned that I was there. And so they interviewed me and did pretty much a whole story about what I saw. And then from that, CNN actually picked me up. And so I did a live interview with them. It was like 2 minutes long. But yeah, so.
You got your fame.
I did. And
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me before we wrap up.
yeah.
Tell me, give me the links and I'll link to those if you have them.
Okay. Yeah. And
We can probably just email those to you
Yeah.
afterwards, or you
Yeah.
can find them.
and yeah, but it was just so crazy.
So horrific, and it's for like 3 weeks. Every time you would close your eyes or you'd go to sleep, you would just witness it all over again. You would blink and you'd see it all happen again.
But at the same time, it was beautiful to see all the vigils. It was beautiful
incredible.
to see how much it connected people and how much it made his cause grow.
We went on this. It was like a ride along. No, it wasn't a ride along.
Yeah, it was a ride along, is what they called it.
Out in like the middle of nowhere, Utah.
It was over in Santaquin. That's his idea of middle of nowhere, Utah.
I'm not from Utah, but out
From
out there.
Declo, that's more middle and nowhere.
I know, right?
I know, but still, we're out there, and we just see all these people who are. They're not as clean cut as people
It was
from Elk
on a
Ridge.
Sunday, so it wasn't necessarily our demographic of like
Yeah,
members
it
of the
was-
church.
There was a pastor who gave us a prayer and all that kind of stuff, and then we all got in our cars that were decked out in Charlie Kirk memorabilia or just America memorabilia, like American flags, all that kind of stuff. We the people. And then we just drove from Santaquin.
Yeah, Santaquin to where it happened.
To the UVU campus.
To UVU. And seriously, we got nothing but love from everyone.
Except for
drove.
Provo.
Yeah, except
Not
for
a single
Provo.
person acknowledged us in Provo.
Yeah, nobody really honked or was excited. But Springville, everybody went.
There were people who
Was
were
that the same day or was
Yeah.
that a couple days after?
no, that was a couple days after.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
I think it
Couple
was
weeks
a
after.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like a Charlie train.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And
It was
there
just
were
so cool to
probably
see people.
100 cars easily.
Oh, yeah. And people were just joining in off the street too, who'd bring their own stuff. There were people, especially in Springville and
Spanish Fork.
who would even run into their house to grab an American flag and wave it in their yard for us as we
they
drove
saw
by.
us, yeah.
And it was so
it was really cool
to see all these people who love Charlie, who love this country, and they were just so and who don't want it to just die.
Exactly.
We don't want the American dream to be nothing. We don't want America to be an unsafe country. It's a country that's built for everyone. Everyone, as long as you come legally. You have to obey the laws.
That's the immigration.
It's a whole nother
it's
thing.
So complicated.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we minimize it and try to oversimplify it. And I get it. We live down in, when your mom and dad lived down in Palm Springs, that's where I, last saw them. And people would come across the border to these dumpy towns near Palm Springs, and these were, really dumpy towns. But what they're coming from, I get it. I've been to Mexico.
Absolutely, me too.
It's a nightmare.
I get why people do it, and our system is so jacked up.
Absolutely.
6 ways from Sunday, and probably always will be, because there's politicians that are profiting off the battle. I think
It's true.
And I understand that completely, and I feel for those people.
But
But
my wife's an immigrant from England.
that's
Took
awesome.
her the longest. I mean, I don't know how diligent she was, trying to get her immigration, but she's only had it for the last 10 years. She's been here for 30-something years.
Absolutely, and that's how a lot of people are. And I understand that it's hard and it takes a long, long time, and
It shouldn't.
it shouldn't take that long.
But
that doesn't mean that
I
should
just don't
break
think that
the law.
breaking the law justifies it, especially because they don't want to be labeled as criminals. But when you break the law, you become a criminal.
And I saw this person the other day in a video, and she said, just because someone breaks the law doesn't mean that they're a criminal. And then the video cut to someone Googling what is a criminal, and it said noun.
Someone who breaks the law.
A person who breaks the law.
Well, yeah, and I get the pure definition of it makes sense. But if someone's coming here, I get it.
I understand.
We got to be careful with how we say that, because when we start putting labels on people, criminal, you think, you're the devil.
No.
Oh, yeah, no.
We
Of
got to
course
be really
not.
cautious about how we
And
do that.
I understand that.
And we are so privileged here.
We are.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's easy for us to, those people.
Yeah.
So we got to be really cautious.
Yeah, and I understand that those people, all they want is a better life, and I get that, and I feel for them completely. But at the same time, if we let everybody in, then our country will be just like Mexico.
No, I have this theory that close the gates now and tightly regulate them, and everyone that's here, just give them a shot. They're already here. Give them a shot, and close the gate and monitor it like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Better. Close the gate, build whatever you want to put, and leave the people alone that are here. Let them try.
I agree with that. It's just the downside of that, I feel, is that we've already had all these people like Laken Riley, who was killed by an illegal immigrant.
There's
always these outliers, but it's just it's either the grand thing, not really the grand thing, not like it's great, but there's the big solution, which is take everybody out to prevent that.
And I don't believe in that.
It's logistically impossible.
It is logistically
Absolutely.
impossible. But then it's hard to tell who's gonna hurt who.
Exactly.
It's hard to tell in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, there was this.
Absolutely.
My neighbor can, I go to church with, might pop off one day. I have no idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was this Ukrainian woman who was stabbed in the neck on the bus.
Yeah, that was horrific.
It was
right around the same time as Charlie.
Yeah, I do feel bad that she got overshadowed, or Charlie overshadowed her.
Makes sense because he's a bigger figure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wish I knew her name. I really do. I remember who she is. I just can't remember her name at this moment.
Was Ukrainian and
Exactly.
But
it was so, and I don't know if you've seen the footage of it happening, but
awful.
The guy was literally just sitting there.
Yep.
And he just
snapped. Just did it.
Does it.
And it's like, how can we? Why are we allowing this to happen?
And that guy wasn't an immigrant, was he?
He was.
Was he?
I believe
I don't remember.
Think he was. I think my understanding, again, limited, was that he just had a lot of mental illness issues.
Something.
And a criminal
but
record.
then
she
there's
was the immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was I believe she was a legal immigrant too.
She was illegal?
She wasn't.
She was
legal. Yeah.
Oh, legal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And but then again, like you look at I'm pretty sure that there was an illegal immigrant in Idaho who hit someone in a car or something like that, and it killed like a 7-year-old or something like that. I didn't read the whole story, but
there was a guy in California who was a semi-driver who didn't even speak English, and he killed.
Yeah, he couldn't read
wife.
English. He couldn't read the signs.
Yeah, he killed a mother and a child because California is not practicing their due diligence when it comes to giving out CDLs. There's just so many issues that it almost feels hopeless.
When you say there's so many, again, if we follow the media is going to make it seem like this is an absolute epidemic, and maybe it isn't. I don't know, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But the media is going to piss you off and rile you up.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever camp you're in, they're going to say, "See, those bastards on that side, they're destroying everything." Maybe it's not that way.
Yeah.
We have to at least acknowledge it. Maybe it's not.
It's like when COVID was going on, I'm sorry for all those people who lost family during COVID, but there were so many things on the news saying all of these people died of COVID, and it was like hundreds of thousands, when in reality they were just chalking it up to COVID deaths. They were just labeling it as COVID deaths.
Yeah.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means, but I do think that the COVID vaccine shouldn't have come out so quickly. It shouldn't have been forced.
Yeah.
I had to, for me to serve my mission, I had to be vaccinated. And if that makes someone feel comfortable, then okay, cool. But I want to know what I'm putting in my body. I want to know what someone's putting in my body, especially when it seemed like after the COVID shot was like, oh, it's 100% effective. That number kept going down.
Which we'll never know.
Yeah, it kept going down even lower until it was like 25% effective, and only in this certain amount of patients. And it's like
that whole thing doesn't pass the smell test either.
Yeah,
so
it's like did you just like
you can go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it's like
you
did you just
start your show and start talking about some of these things.
Yeah.
Was this just a placebo? What was this? But who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who is Fauci swore by it, but now you don't hear about Fauci anymore.
No, there's a documentary or something out. Who knows?
Yeah.
You can make a documentary say anything, but well, as we're wrapping this up, is there any other thoughts about the whole Charlie Kirk thing and that experience that you want to share that I haven't asked you, and then we'll kind of land this plane, as they say?
There is no place in America for any kind of political violence.
Absolutely. Right or
Unless
left.
you hate them.
There you go.
No.
Well,
No.
I was baiting you guys.
Yeah, it was like,
What if you hate them? What if you don't agree?
No.
Even if you disagree.
Well, you're talking sense now.
I'm sorry?
You're talking sense.
Yeah. Even if you
How dare
disagree,
you?
there's something called freedom of speech, and it's a God-given right. Regardless of what God you believe in, it is a God-given right. You have that right. It is inalienable. I think that's the word.
Yes.
And so talk to the people that you don't like. Get their point of view, because you'll understand that people are a lot more human than you think. People are a lot more understanding than you think.
Absolutely.
Even the people who are the most stubborn. I mean, I married a very stubborn woman.
Oh, I am stubborn beyond belief.
Whatever. You call it whatever you want. You have your opinion based on the experiences that you've had in your life, your family. It doesn't mean you're evil. That's just the experiences you've had.
Absolutely.
Same with you, Ethan, with your family, and I know your family fairly well. We all have, we're influenced by our environment.
Absolutely.
And if we would at least, like, I love what Charlie Kirk did, talking to everybody, and I don't agree with some of the things he said. I thought were stupid and harmful, and some of the things he said I agreed with. So it just depended on what he was spewing. If we just try to understand each other at a minimum, then at least each one of us feels like they've been heard, and we're in a world where nobody is heard. We're just brushed off, marginalized, othered. You've heard the term othering? Mm-hmm. That's an epidemic based on ignorance. Like I say, I was raised hardcore Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, all the hard right guys my whole life, and that's all I believed in, and that's anything from the left was suspicious at best, from the devil at worst. and I didn't trust anything. And I was just angry, frustrated, and mad all the time. So I'm like, maybe my side, quote, side, doesn't have all the answers.
Come together. We can solve these problems together.
And if we're Christian, what's the second commandment? Love your neighbor.
Yeah, love your neighbor.
Oh, and I test
Sorry,
you
guys, I blinked.
Oh, sorry, I forgot you guys are Mormon. You don't know. Anyway, yeah, love your neighbor. Period.
And there's a podcast host that's got a sticker on their laptop that says "Be a friend to the friendless."
Weird.
Yeah.
What a concept that is.
Yeah. Just love each other, guys. It's not that hard.
But it can't. It's simple, but it's hard for some.
Yeah,
And I
it's
understand
a
that.
simple concept.
I feared
but-
somebody that had a different opinion. In fact, I have this guy that, Kenny, I'll give you a shout out if you're listening, because sometimes he listens to my shows, but I've known him digitally for 10 years, never met him in person. Hard left guy. He was so articulate. And I'm like, I can never beat this guy. But that was my mentality, that I had to beat him. Mm-hmm. So I just started listening to him. I'm like, okay, what you're saying, that rings true to me. It's not from, the evils of the left. So he's a decent human being. He just thinks differently, and it's okay.
Absolutely. And that's the bottom line, is that people can think differently, and that's
And I don't wanna
they
punch
can
you
do
in the
that.
throat, because you're different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No throat punching or shooting in the neck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Guys, it's wrong. So,
Exactly.
okay. Well, thank you guys. This has
Of
been fun. I'm
course.
glad to have you here and to get your perspective, because I wasn't there and my son was there, but he missed a lot of it.
Yeah. Thanks for having
It
us.
was
Yeah,
good to
thank
have you
you.
here, and until next
Thank
time.
you again for listening to The Parish the Thought Show. We know you have many podcast options and appreciate that you have chosen us. If you love what you hear, please give us a rating on whatever platform you find us. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. If you hate what you hear, only tell us. You're still here? Click on the next episode for more from The Parish the Thought Show.